Look at that. Bam.
After I hit 60, I just didn't feel as strong. I didn't feel like I had the endurance. Just get back on track, win the next meal, win the next workout. This is sustainable. If you're trying to do something and it feels like you have to be perfect and we're not perfect, people are going to give up. It was eye-opening to see how much protein I wasn't getting. We want to have a great health span. We want to be in as good of health as possible.
Right, a little interruption before we get into today's episode. So I run these shows sponsor-free. We will never take on sponsors because everything is self-funded through our Fit Vegan coaching program. So if you enjoy these shows, the best way to support is obviously to subscribe to the channel, but also if you know anyone over the age of 50 that is looking to improve their body composition, combat sarcopenia, combat osteoporosis, get healthier, on a whole food, plant-based lifestyle, to simply send them our way at fitvegancoaching.com, because we are the best in the world in helping people over 50 transform. We have over 1,000 transformation in 20 different countries. So simply send them our way. In addition to that, a percentage of our profit monthly goes towards supporting cancer patients with their treatments and bills and whatever they may need to support themselves and their family. So you're also supporting additional people outside of the work that we'd be doing in the program. That is all I have for you today, so enjoy the episode. All right, good morning everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Fit Vegan Podcast. Today I'm joined with one of our Fit Vegan superstars, Gary, in our house in LA. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Good.
Thanks.
I'm happy to have you here in person.
Oh, we're happy to be here. It's been fun.
Yeah, so yesterday we recorded with your wife, Linda.
Yes.
Today we're going to dive into your story and your incredible transformation, because to be honest with you, you're in better shape than some people that are in their 30s. If you look at the average health in America, you're crushing it. You got abs, you got big biceps, you're crushing it. Awesome. Well, let's give people a little background as to who you are, so people have an understanding of kind of where you started from before you came into the program.
Sure. Well, I'm retired. We've been retired about 2 years now. Both Linda and I were in healthcare. She was a nurse. I was a healthcare executive. And we went vegetarian back in 2004. And initially that was more for, Linda was looking at, more health reasons. She's got family history of some heart disease, stroke, different things, and had done some research and said, I think this is a lifestyle that she wanted to adopt that would benefit her. And I said, okay, great. I'm on board with you, just because I'm smart. She does the cooking, so I know it's like I better get I used to be able to do a lot of the cooking, but, grilling stuff like that. But that was a pretty easy transition for us to be vegetarian, because we really didn't eat a lot of meat before that.
Yeah.
And so initially it was for health reasons, but once we adopted that lifestyle, started to do more research, and then really started to open our eyes to about, just the impact, environmental impact and animal efficacy, different things like that. And so then it was in 2011, we went with another couple from work, a couple of physicians to see Forks Over Knives. Yeah. And the four of us walked out of there and totally plant-based ever since, them included. So that's been great. And we've early on, so 2004 and then 2011, there were resources available, but now it's very different. There's so many things on social media. But as we did go to conferences and talk to more physicians, and it just really reinforced that this is the right thing to do. And so for us, it's been fun. It's been, I would say easy. Yeah. We've enjoyed it. I think it's been easy because we do it together. We've done everything together. We always do stuff together. So the fact that we're both on the same page, it helps enormously. So
yeah. It seemed like there wasn't a lot of friction when she kind of brought on the idea to eat more plant-based in 2004. Was there any areas of concern? And I'm just asking from the perspective of what was that, 21 years ago? Mm-hmm. 21 years ago. So you would have been in your 40s at that point. Mm-hmm. Most men in their 40s will be like, nah, eat steak and chicken, and it's manly to eat meat. So what made it so easy for you to be like, you know what, I'm going to give this up and try this new thing?
Well, because I don't give a rip really about what other people think of me. And, there certainly was, it was kind of comical. There were a lot of guys that in our circle of friends that gave me a lot of crap, because exactly that. It's like, oh, come on, you need to eat meat or whatever. And even in some of the jobs that I had, it's like, oh, no, you can't do this. You're just, and that surprised me. And
even in healthcare space.
Yeah. And then just, social, some family members too. And that was like, well, whatever. And after a while, it wasn't like concerning, but it was just like annoying. Get over it. Why do you guys care what I eat or whatever?
All of a sudden.
Right. Yeah. And, we try not to be preachy, but if somebody asks us, well, why? And if we have a relationship with that person and then, they've kind of invited us into that conversation, then it's a good opportunity because, the medical evidence is there.
Yeah.
And it's very compelling. So, and both of us working in healthcare have seen just so many people who could improve their health or are in the hospital because of food-related issues, overeating and diabetes and high cholesterol, high blood pressure, whatever, that really, if they were to look at adopting a plant-based lifestyle, it would help. And their response is like, oh, that'd be so hard. It's so hard. And like, harder than a bypass? Harder
to go to the hospital.
Yeah, it's like whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's such a interesting, like people always think that because if you work in healthcare that you should know these things and that you should be living this type of lifestyle, but people forget that there's certain people, it's not a lifestyle, it's a job. It's like, I work in this industry because it's a job and that's how I make money and pay my bills. There's not necessarily like, I need to live this full healthy lifestyle and stay on top of the research to be the healthiest possible and lead by example.
Right.
Sometimes it's just a paycheck for certain people. So what made it that it wasn't just a paycheck for you and that you actually like cared about being able to transform yourself and lead by example?
Well, Linda and I, if you know us, we've always, we care about people. And I think we're pretty authentic with that.
Yeah.
We like people. We are invested in community. We invested in the people around us. We try to look at the impact that we have.
Yeah.
And so I think, one of the things for about 13 years, we worked for an organization, a healthcare organization that was really focused on well care. And we really liked that. So it wasn't the typical sick model of, the hospital systems in the USA. And it was really a model based around keeping people healthy and out of the hospital and, reducing their visits to the clinic, but encouraging a healthy lifestyle. And so for us, then that just created that opportunity. It's like, we're in positions that are visible. We were very visible in the organization. So, to be able to, you don't have to say anything. It's really what you do that I think influences other people in different ways. So
was that in the United States or was that when you were in Dubai? Was that organization?
No, that was in the United States.
Okay.
The organization in Dubai was a very different model. That was a great opportunity for us. It was interesting. And again, because we love people, I love challenges. That was later in my career, had the opportunity to go, lead a hospital in Dubai. And, we did that just for, just like, why not?
Let's go to Dubai.
Go to Dubai. It was before we had grandkids. And so anyway, but that was challenging in a lot of different ways too, because we would get invited out a lot and to different places and, tried to explain to them, well, I don't eat meat. I don't eat this and that. And, oh, well, you can have fish, you can have chicken. It's like, well, I don't want to. But, so that was a little challenging. And that particular hospital system that I work at certainly wasn't a well care model. It was like really focused on international medical tourism and really trying to be the best Western medicine hospital in the Middle East, which it was. It was one of the first ones like 26 years ago, whatever. So
yeah. And so you and Lynn have always been in the area of like health and being health conscious. I think she mentioned in the podcast your first date invitation was to go to the gym.
I know that's pretty lame. We both worked.
That's a good date invitation. I like it.
Well, we both worked in the hospital. I was working nights in the emergency room as a emergency tech or orderly, I think we called them back then, and going to school. And Linda was already, completed her education, and she was a nurse up in the coronary care unit. And so, I really liked her. And so I was always watching her, and typically we would get together whenever there was a code blue, because my job was then to do CPR.
Yeah.
And, I'd be doing CPR, and she'd get in, and, she was running the code and, kind of telling people what to do. And I thought, well, I'm pretty impressed with her. She's like, take charge, whatever. And so I wanted to ask her out, and we both worked nights. And so I thought, well, I don't know what to do. So I asked if she wanted to go to the gym after work one morning, and she kind of looked at me like, okay, yeah, whatever. So, yeah, that was our first, if you call it a date.
Yeah. It's a good first date. I think it set the tone for the relationship a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you guys have been like really intense into fitness and health since then.
Yeah, we like, walking, hiking, biking. When we moved out west, we did skiing.
Yeah.
We both had grown up. I had grown up doing some skiing. Linda, not so much, but so when we moved out to Portland, and we were near Mount Hood, and so we both took lessons for the first couple of years, and we loved it. We did a lot of skiing and hiking there, and it was really beautiful. So, and we did a lot of, during that time, we were doing like CrossFit on a regular basis, and then we also had a trainer that would come to our house. So we were really into, working out. And, pushing ourselves and running. Linda and I were trying to get, running and doing some races together, which was really fun. So, yeah, I would say we've always focused on doing things. That's kind of, we're an active couple. When we go on vacations, we're not like a sit by the pool and read a book kind of a group. We want to get out and explore and see stuff. So.
Yeah, just lunge up a mountain, basically.
Yeah.
Make the hike harder. So the reason I was kind of bringing that up is when we met was like about a year ago in Cleveland at NHA at the conference.
Right.
What made it so that you wanted to kind of inquire to get some help with your transformation as a couple that's always been kind of on the healthier side and physically active?
So after we retired, and then we moved back to Minnesota and continued to work out. But for both of us, I think it was more of we got in a comfort zone of this is kind of the routine we like to do. We weren't really pushing ourselves. Linda didn't like to go to the gym. She was doing more of the virtual reality workouts at home, which are fun. And then I'd ask her to go to the gym, and she seemed to be kind of easily intimidated by, other people there and stuff. But I was noticing too, especially after I hit like 60, I just didn't feel as strong. I didn't feel like I had the endurance. I started to feel like I was losing, muscle tone, and I really wanted to work on that and focus on balance too, because as we age, those are some risks that we have. So I was curious, and we had worked out with trainers before, but they didn't understand our lifestyle as far as how we choose to eat.
Yeah.
And so I think that was the disconnect for us. When prior to meeting you, I had checked out with another organization that looked to me like they might have a better understanding of, working with vegans.
Yeah.
But then when I met you, and actually, I don't know if you remember, but I know you had a booth outside the conference hall, but then in the gym one morning when we were working out, and they had a fair amount of stuff, but they didn't have enough of, I think, what you needed.
Yeah.
And I saw you put these heavy, dumbbells on this big, heavy treadmill, and then you were lifting this treadmill up, and I'm like, dang, this guy is really serious about working out. And then, thought I'd connect with you later. And then in talking to you, one of the things that was interesting, number one, that you were at NHA. So that's a whole food plant-based conference. So it's like, okay, you get it. You get the food issues we have. But then further in our dialogue with you, I understood that you're the demographic that you work with really is a pretty wide age group, up to like 86 years old.
Yeah, Pam holds a record.
Yeah. And I thought, okay, so these guys understand our demographic, they understand our food, nutrition needs, and so that got us on board. And then the initial intake call was really helpful, because then, you had talked to us a little bit, but on that intake call, just learning what all is available when you join the program was really pretty amazing. We've never seen anything that comprehensive with it's not just the physical personal training, but it's the nutrition, it's the diet plan, it's the education, it's the information, it's the support, everything is just totally laid out in a really fun community of other people who are all striving to have the same goal. And so that convinced us that was something that we wanted to do.
Yeah, and you guys renewed already as well, so you guys are going on like a year with us almost.
Yeah, we started July 17th, and so it's April now. So
yeah.
But we did renew, and part of it was, I don't know, we've just been having so much fun. We didn't want to not have access to it anymore.
Yeah.
We love the way that you get your workouts through the app on a weekly basis in advance, and they're always changing up. So they're, it's like you're pushing ourselves. You can see your personal best, and they keep mixing up so that you're really, challenging your weights.
Yeah.
Having the macro planner available so you can check out, how many calories is this, how many, protein grams is this, and different things. And then just plus having access to you and the other coaches. I mean, those weekly calls that everybody does are really fun. Really good information, but it's fun to, have that information, but to see other people in the program. So we wanted to continue on. So
yeah. Well, I'm happy to hear that me deadlifting a treadmill with some 60-pound dumbbells on it.
It was pretty impressive.
I was like, I need to deadlift today. I'm like, there's 2 60-pound dumbbells. It's not enough. So made the treadmill work.
Yeah.
It was very clunky. The form was off because had to navigate around the knees. But I was going to say, you guys in the program have been working with Coach Nick.
Yes.
So how has that been working with Coach Nick?
Coach Nick is amazing. I mean, this guy is
a ball of joy.
He's got the most positive attitude. He's incredibly bright. I mean, he really understands everything about exercise and fitness. I mean, we can ask him any question, and he is able to respond. He does his weekly calls, and typically it's reviewing some research that's out there, which we love listening to because it's all evidence-based. And he's just got this great fun, and you all do. I mean, that's the other thing we like about the program. It's nobody's perfect. You're gonna mess up. If you mess up, it's okay, just get back on track, win the next meal, win the next workout, whatever. So there isn't any shame. So it feels like, I think that's gonna help. That helps a lot of people feel like this is sustainable. Because if you're trying to do something and it feels like you have to be perfect, and we're not perfect, people are gonna give up. And so that's been great. But no, Nick has been amazing, and we love, just if you have a question, being able to text and taking a video of yourself doing an exercise if you're not really sure you're doing it correctly, whatever. You're in most of every exercise. If we ever have a question about what that looks like, click on the video, and there you are thoroughly explaining it. And we like that too, because I think that's, safety for people who don't have a history of working out. It's really clear. It's this is how you do this, so you're not going to get injured, and you're going to work the muscles. So
those were a long time to record those exercises.
I'm sure.
Next week I'm doing 100 more exercise videos
in a week.
Next Thursday I'm going to record 100 in one day. And then we'll just re-add those to the app as well to kind of add on to the other ones that we have.
That's amazing.
Because like you said, they're very in depth. I was trying to mention the knees should do this, the elbows should do this, your shoulders should be in this position, your core. Because like you said, a lot of people are potentially newer to strength training, and they're like, cool, I can visually see what a squat looks like, but what happens when you squat? What needs to go where? Because the knees have to go somewhere, the hips have to go somewhere.
And you do such a good job with that. I mean, if we've seen other video things on YouTube and then, typically they'll show you what to do, but, you have multiple angles. You do it with multiple different weights that are available. If you want to do it with a band, a bar, dumbbells, whatever. You talk about the way your body should be, and then, the breathing. So, if you watch a video of you and you still don't get it, well, then I'm sorry.
Rewatch it.
Try to do everything possible.
Yeah. Well, hey, we'll put your knowledge to the test today, because we're doing a leg workout together later today.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah. A little bit of good pain and tension coming.
Sure.
Awesome. So I love to talk about like how the journey has been, because let's talk about your results. So do you mind sharing kind of like the wins that you saw, how you saw your body transform, and the changes, and then we can dive into like the challenges that you've had to overcome, because like you've mentioned, no one's perfect. There's bumps in the roads. You guys traveled quite a bit during that time. So yeah, kind of lay it out for people, like all the cool things that have happened.
Sure. Well, pretty quickly. Well, my goal, so I know some people come into the program and their goal is to lose some weight or a lot of weight or whatever. And my goal really wasn't to lose a lot of weight. I wanted to get rid of any visceral fat just for health reasons. But I really was more focused on, I want to build muscle tone, and I want to get balance, make sure that balance is good, and strength and endurance back up. But I did lose, I think if I remember correctly, I think it was about 12 pounds over this period of time.
Yeah.
And most of that obviously is visceral fat.
Body recomp,
Body recomp. And I also lost about 3 inches in my waist, maybe 3.5 inches in the waist. So those are some areas that it's like, that's pretty noticeable for me anyway. And doing that, I mean, I do feel different. It's not like I felt bad before, but I just do feel better.
Yeah.
And then as other parts of the transformation, as I started to push myself more and get back into, I used to be able to lift this amount of weight, or I could, and that start to feel better. When you're at my age at 67, I mean, you need those little wins, you don't want to feel like this old,
got some
old
big
man. Yeah. So
you got Jack Gary.
It's
like, just for fun, just for the people watching on YouTube, give us a little bicep flex. I want people to see. Look at that shit. Look at that. Bam. All right. If you guys are listening on audio, you missed out. You have to go on YouTube.
That's embarrassing. But anyway, no, but I do feel, I feel good. I think one of the things that's been really fun is it's given Linda a lot more confidence in the gym too, because it's very prescriptive of what she's going to do. And she'll go in there now, and if there's other guys on the machines and that, she doesn't hesitate at all. It's like, can I work in with you, or how long are you going to be on that, or whatever. And, so we go to the gym together again, which is fun because we do everything together. I would say that some of the challenges initially, because we were both eating healthy foods.
Yeah, we were whole food plant-based.
Plant-based, whole food plant-based. But we weren't paying attention to, like our macros at all.
Yeah.
And so I think starting to pay attention to that and realizing it's like, yes, I was started to read, it's like, yes, as you age, you do need more protein. And I mean, I know you can be very healthy on plant-based diet and not worry about your protein, and you're still going to be healthy. But if you're trying to do a body recomp or increase your strength, muscle tone, those kind of things, we do need more protein.
Yeah.
So I think it was just figuring out, it's like, okay, well, we need to introduce more tofu, which is great. I mean, love tofu. I'm not going to lie, Linda's the cook, and she does amazing. So everything is really good. So I've had it pretty easy. I think initially it felt a little challenging, the app, to record everything.
Yeah.
But the more you do it, it's easier, because once you have those foods in there, and then you can copy different things, but you put something in there and then it automatically tells you, it's like, this is how much protein's in there, how many calories, whatever. So
was it eye-opening to start to like put more awareness towards protein, to realize how little you were at before?
It was eye-opening to see how much protein I wasn't getting. And it's also eye-opening when you're measuring everything, and like you read the labels and it's like, this is so many calories for 2 tablespoons or whatever, and you just, like peanut butter, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to just slather on a bunch of peanut butter on a piece of bread and think, I'm within the calorie. But when you actually measure it out, it's like, holy crap.
Like 300-400 calories of peanut
butter.
That's
a lot of calories. So that was pretty eye-opening.
Yeah, because no one puts a tablespoon of peanut butter on a toast. Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it was hard. I think, just planning out. And I think what helped us too, which was nice, is because our goal in retirement is to do a lot of travel.
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, how are we going to maintain these macros traveling, and our workouts in the gym? We don't want to miss those. How are we going to do that?
Yeah.
So it's just being more planful. So looking ahead at our travels, it's like, are we booking hotels with a good gym? Do we want to bring weight bands with us, whatever? We I mean, there's so many products out there. We've got these little mini blenders we can pack with us, and then we'll bring, the shelf-stable tofu.
Yeah.
Which, like, even for this trip, shelf-stable tofu in our bag and some protein powder or whatever. Go to the store on the way out or whatever and get some fruit or whatever once you land, and so that's been good. And then just researching in advance, the vegan restaurants.
Yeah.
So I would say that
you guys develop little strategies to make it work for you guys while you're traveling.
Yeah.
Because you've been pretty consistent throughout all of your travels.
we really have. We've been fortunate. We have good strategy. And even, when we're staying at home and we're invited over, because there's very few of our friends and family members that eat the same way that we do.
Yeah.
But they don't shame us or anything. It's like, they understand. So we just plan. It's like,
not when you have a 6-pack area. They can't shame you.
So it's like we go over. It's like we'll bring a vegan dish or salad or whatever. And a lot of times we just know it's like we're going over to so and so's house. Let's eat something before.
Yeah.
And then we're not, because there's still, especially in the Midwest, there's just this culture of snacks that are available, and which isn't necessarily bad depending on what the snacks are. Yeah. But, so that's something that we just...
Rarely watermelon and apples.
No, it's usually not fruits or vegetables involved in that at all. So, but it's been fun. So as far as other challenges...
Well, I want to say this, because you said you guys have been pretty blessed with how you've done it. I think you guys have been very disciplined and methodical with ensuring that you do stay on track. Because most people, when they book a trip, they won't look at the gym, right? They won't look at bringing a blender. They won't look at bringing, shelf-stable tofu or some protein powder. They're just going to book the trip and just trying to be like, oh, there's nothing easily accessible. Well, screw it. We're just going to have some fun, get back on track when we get back home.
Right.
But with you guys being able to do your workouts, have your little strategy to stay on track, have you guys still been able to enjoy your trips even though you've had this structure?
We have, fortunately, I've been part of the NHA, National Health Association, because they do have I would call it a travel arm, where they've partnered with a couple of different, like World Vegan Tours and Windstar Cruises and different things, where they will put together these travel packages for you that are totally plant-based.
Yeah.
And so we've done several of those Windstar trips where and one of them was the whole ship. And several of them, then there's at least a group of like 20, 40 people that you're with. And you know that every meal is going to be whole food plant-based. And with NHA, it's also SOS, salt, sugar, oil-free. And then, all the excursions. And so that makes it super easy. And then there are so many different groups out there, like World Vegan Travel and other things that will put these things together for you.
Yeah.
And then it's just more fun, because then you're traveling and people aren't asking you, well, what are you eating that for? How are you getting your protein? Why are you doing that? Or let's stop at this, it's like...
Yeah. Now they're asking you, why are you adding tofu to your meal?
Yeah. Yeah. So other strategies, though... Linda's pretty clever with stuff. So like slicing up tofu, marinating it in some really good spices, different things, and then dehydrating it. Yeah. And then we put that in little baggies. And then on the plane, you want a little snack. It's like these
tofu jerky type.
Jerky, chips, whatever. And so, because there's just, anybody that travels, those are the tough areas, the airport, sitting on a plane. Typically you're not going to get anything that is really good for you.
Yeah, so, like Pringles and some salted almonds.
And so just bring your own stuff. And I think for some people too, I still, even though for me, I've always had really low blood pressure, good cholesterol, but I know for Linda and her family history, this is important to her for health reasons. And she's really made some drastic changes with that. Got off her medication that she was on for blood pressure and different things. And so I want to make sure that we don't have that. I want to support that, and that we don't have the attitude, oh, we're going to be on vacation. It's like, well, don't take a vacation from your health.
Yeah.
We all could die tomorrow. You don't know, but we want, as long as we're alive, we want to have a great health span. We want to be in as good of health as possible. We don't want those last years to be, where somebody else has to take care of us, or we're utilizing hospital resources or whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting to me, the whole travel component, because a lot of people, yeah, when they do retire, that's kind of their years to travel and,
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote, enjoy themselves a little bit more. But there's an element of, I don't know, like I wouldn't find enjoyment out of eating the foods that people consider enjoyable, because you just feel so terrible after you eat them that you don't enjoy the vacation as much. You're puffy, you're bloated, you're inflamed, you're feeling
Right.
groggy. It's like, where's the enjoyment in that? Like, yes, when you're eating the food, yeah, for sure, your taste buds are pretty happy about it. But then the rest of the day, you just feel awful. You feel terrible.
Right.
You're not actually enjoying your vacation.
Yeah. So it's great to be able to eat healthy food, feel good. It's also, these groups of people are also very health minded and exercise minded.
Yeah.
So it's more fun. They're going to be more likely to want to do tours that involve hiking, and there's,
Yeah.
weightlifting and different things that are available on the boat and different stuff like that. So it is more fun.
Yeah. Do you guys find it easier to be, and I know the answer to this one for you guys, because obviously you've done it pretty well, but to put yourself in an environment where it's easier to succeed and to be around like-minded individuals, has it made it easier for you guys to kind of live this lifestyle and enjoy it?
It does when we're traveling. I would say, though, where we live, in the building we live in, and then with, family and friends, we don't have a very big circle of friends that have the same lifestyle.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that it's hard. I mean, they all know. Like I said, we try not to be preachy, but they know.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't think we get invited to dinner as much as maybe other people do. Because
Hey, that's Ivy and I, so we're...
I think they're just kind of like, they don't know what to do. It's like, how do we, feed you guys or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's still so many things. I don't know. I think it's just your attitude. It's like, we feel when we are putting energy into taking care of ourselves like this, you
Yeah.
feel good, and life feels good. And there's just a lot of things out there in life right now and in the world that, don't feel really good. And, those are there, and we want to be aware of that. But things that we can control, we want to try to control. And we can control what we eat. We can control how much we exercise. We can control our attitude and how we show up.
Yeah.
And so focusing on that rather than just having a defeatist attitude, like, the world sucks, all this stuff is going down, hell in a handbag, whatever, I might as well eat whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, you can choose that path.
Yeah.
But, that is a choice.
Yeah. It's how you're looking at your current reality.
Yeah.
You can look at
absolutely.
it both ways. It's terrible or it's a blessing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You guys have a pretty high rate of attendance on the group calls. The reason I was sharing that is because obviously a lot of people that are in the program like you guys don't really have that community in person.
Right.
Like typically we're the black sheeps of the people around us and our families, and it's really hard to connect with other like-minded people. So I was like, let's just do that online. Let's just do it on a Zoom call and try to get as many people as possible on there that are, eating the same way, wanting to exercise, wanting to get better. Because I think what you shared earlier, when you turn like about 60, you start to notice a decrease in like strength and lean muscle mass and tone. And what we found across all the members is like 60 is kind of like that defining point of you're either going to get healthier or you're going down, basically. And I think too many people wait till that point to try to turn things around, but then they have, multiple decades of bad habit to unlearn and undo to try to go the opposite direction. So I feel having some type of a supportive environment of other people that are having these conversations is important.
Yeah.
Or else you're just like, well, I heard about this whole food plant-based thing. I know exercise is great for me, but I have no example around me of what that's supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I appreciate you and Linda, because I feel you guys have been like leaders and, a shining example for a lot of members in the program. I know you've inspired a lot of members, because the coaches, we get messages about you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, about how inspiring you are.
The troublemakers we are.
Yeah, the troublemakers, yeah, exactly.
Well, it's been a lot of fun. And I think that for people who are later in life trying to make a transformation or new to this lifestyle, whatever, it's like it does provide that community for you. And just having that interaction and like chatting with each other and texting with each other, it's like, hey, how do you do this, or what recipe do you use this, or I don't like that, tofu or tempeh or whatever, and what tips, and so you can help each other out.
Yeah.
And again, like you and Ivy are blessed to have each other. Linda and I are blessed to have each other, like-minded. So you don't, but I know there's a lot of people out there who their partner, isn't on the same page. And so they're trying to do this on their own, which is really tough. But it's never too late. And if you feel like you're alone, if in this program, like I said, you're not alone. There's so many people that are part of this that you can reach out to and get some support.
Yeah. Well, you beat me to it. That was a question that I had saved in the back right of my head to bring up, because I feel like you've been such like when I interviewed Linda or I interviewed both of you guys last time for the podcast, like there's such a supportive energy from your side to kind of what Linda is doing. And then, she's very supportive of you as well. But I feel like most people talk about the wife being supportive of the husband, but not a lot of people have a shining example of the husband being supportive of the wife. I think you do a tremendous job at that. Because a lot of people that are in the program, 70% women, 30% men, those are kind of the stats that we have, and their husband isn't supportive of like them eating this way. So love to have some piece of advice for you as to kind of how some of the husband or men can be more supportive to their wife that are kind of taking on this journey, because it makes such a big difference to have the person that you love be like, yeah, you got this, versus like, no, we're not doing this.
Right. Well, I mean, this is important. It's important to that individual. So if as a man, if it's something that, didn't resonate with me or whatever, it's like, if you love your wife, if you love your partner, if you love your spouse, whoever, why wouldn't you do this? Like anything else, I mean, if something is truly important and they believe in it and it's something that they want to do, I mean, I just feel like a healthy relationship, you're going to try to nurture that. Certainly we're going to have differences of opinion. We're going to have different interests sometimes or whatever, but it boils down to respect. Yeah. It's like, be respectful, listen to that individual, don't poo-poo it. Just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean it's wrong. I see that happening a lot, even in our circle of friends sometimes, where people still joke with us about it. And I'm just like, yeah, that's really funny. I mean, I won't say that to them.
It's been 2 decades now.
I know, it's been a long time. I don't get it. But where you just wonder, it's like, well, where is that coming from? Why can't you show up from a place of appreciation and just, it's like, let everybody be you. You be you, I'll be me, and we can figure this out together. Even if the, partner doesn't want to adopt a lifestyle, it's like, but what can you do to help that person to be successful?
Yeah.
Because when you start to see the transformation, and obviously this individual has chosen this for, ethical reasons, health reasons, whatever the reasons are, they're important reasons.
Yeah.
So be respectful of that. And get over it. I mean, if it's this macho thing, like, some of my, friends earlier, oh yeah, real men eat meat or whatever. It's like, oh, for crying out loud, just get over it. That's not true. I mean, it's just like, human beings, we don't want to, we want to make excuses for our unhealthy lifestyles, and we don't want to give those up. So we're going to do whatever we can to make it okay for us to keep doing that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
And I think that's why the carnivore movement got such steam, because it was a justification for them to continue to do the butter and the bacon and kind of reinforce the lazy path or the easy path that they were kind of on to be like, oh, it's justified. I'm doing this new diet, this new thing now. But the reason I was asking, again, this is completely off like Fit Vegan program, but I think it's important to talk about that, because usually I'll interview a lot of women for the program, because 70%. But now that I have you here, we can talk about it. So I think a lot of men struggle with, it's like an ego aspect to it.
Right.
It's like, wow, she's ready to change and go to the next chapter of becoming her best self. I'm not ready to do that, or I don't want to do the work, right? Or it's scary to do the work of me addressing my fear, insecurities, and things like that. And I feel like there's still love there, but there's like, let's just subconsciously not support, that way I can kind of pull her down a little bit. That way I don't have to do the work to step into the next chapter.
Right.
So I think that's a big part for a lot of people too, to like, they're scared to like look into their inner demons to do the work to go up with their partner. So I think it's just easier to bring them down, but I don't think they know that they're holding them down by doing that.
Right. And it is hard. I mean, it's hard. Nobody wants to feel vulnerable. And, you do feel vulnerability. I think what would help, though, I think, for a lot of men that we're kind of talking about, is to pay attention to the athletes that are vegan. There are a lot of athletes out there that are vegan. And so, if you have this mindset, it's like, oh, you're not manly enough, or you're a wimp or whatever because you eat plants, tree hugger or whatever. It's like, pay attention. I mean, there's that, I don't know if I can mention this. There's that, that film that was available, The Game Changers.
Yeah, with James, yeah.
Yeah, and they're coming out with another second edition of that.
Yeah.
And just to see the number of athletes that increase their performance by changing their, lifestyle to a plant-based, and their performance increased. And I think that helps to debunk the myth that, oh, you're just going to be this, little frail individual, whatever. And but
I invite those people to step on the court with me and see
see
how it goes.
Like I said earlier, you don't want to mess with this guy. He's lifting the weight machine with weights on top of it.
And I think this whole like man thing for the meat, I was like, when I transitioned to veganism, I was in a bodybuilding world. Like I was in a bodybuilding, powerlifting, heavy meat eating world. And then when I transitioned, and even a few years into being a caregiver, and I was like, man, a real man is someone that is able to like sit with his heart, sit with his emotions, be able to show up for their partner unconditionally and love them. Like, to me, that's a real man, regardless of if they have big muscles or small muscles, right? It's more of like a character thing than like a physical trait. Because all those people that will tell me that eating meat is manly, they have a gut, their arteries are clogged, high blood pressure. It's not a definition. It's not. Then if that's what being a man is, like, I don't want to, I'll do my own version of it. Let's dive into some piece of advice. So you jump on a lot of group calls with Linda, which we appreciate you guys jumping on those. And you hear some of people's, journeys and challenges and the things that they're overcoming. From now being a fit vegan success story, you guys are still like, you're at the start of your reverse dieting now, right? But people will see on a thumbnail photo, like, you can be on the cover of Men's Health, like, you're in great shape, in phenomenal shape. So what are a piece of advice that you can kind of pass off to people that are at the beginning of their journey, midway through their journey, where there's like a middle part where it's like not as fun anymore, but you kind of have to keep pushing? What advice would you have for them?
Well, I think to pay attention to, I think a lot of people get in and assume, okay, I'm in a calorie deficit and I should see this incredible weight loss constant, whatever. Don't chase the scale, because what's happening, like, even Linda at first was like, oh, I just feel like I'm not losing weight, whatever. And I'm like, you look fabulous. It's, so as she's gaining more muscle, she's losing, visceral fat, or myself, losing the visceral fat, whatever. So don't just look at the scale. And it is a process, and it's like, it's going to take a while, but, I love your philosophy. It's just like, consistency, just, do your best every day and just keep working towards that goal. Like anything is important. It's not going to happen overnight. But it is very well prescribed, and so just trust the process. I've heard on some of the calls, some people are like, well, I don't really want to do that part of it, or this part is like, oh, is that kind of putsy, or, I don't want to. And it's like, oh, why are you in the program? I don't know. I mean, if something led you to believe that you needed this program or to be part of this, then obviously whatever you were doing before wasn't working to your satisfaction. So give this a try. And so, like anything else, and we, I think, just trust the people. I mean, the coaches in this program, like yourself and everybody else, I mean, very smart, very experienced, and understand all the different components of this very well. So I think that's it. And don't give up, and just forgive yourself. We're going to make mistakes. It's okay. I think it is sustainable. I think there's something, the strategies that you put together, it's just being planful, it's just thinking ahead. And you learn how to do that in the program, because it does allow you to, you can look at your calendar, and even though your workouts may be, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday or whatever, but say next week you've got a travel day in there. Well, you can move your workouts around to before and after and different things so that you make sure that you get those in.
Yeah.
So I think it's very doable.
Yeah. It's, we're having dinner yesterday and we're talking about like sometimes we push people away from doing the program. And throughout the years, I've had to kick out people or remove people from the program, either because they were just, sometimes people have been disrespectful. So we just decide not to deal with it and remove them. Right. But that's our struggle every week and every month and every call we have with new people that want to come in. Like, I want all the things that you're saying, but I don't want to do all the things that you're saying.
Right. Right.
It's like those are the basic foundational things. Like, we're not making you guys do anything fancy that you haven't really heard of before. No. It's just structured methodically to get the outcome. But it's like, it's unsexy. You still have to do your workout. You still have to plan your food. You still have to meal prep. Or if you're traveling, it does require you to be more conscious. And then just being able to navigate life and being kinder to yourself, which you brought up, is really important, because you're going to mess up and you're going to be in an airport someday and you're going to forgot your food, and you have to do the best that you can in that moment. Yeah.
Well, for sure, somebody coming in who maybe doesn't have a history of working out a lot and doesn't have a history of, eating plant-based. Yeah. This is all going to be really new. Yeah. But so give yourself some slack on that. Yeah. And it's like, okay, so that is going to, it's going to be different for you. It's going to be challenging, but hang in there, because like any new habit, anything that you're changing takes some time. I mean, give it, a couple of months, and then suddenly it's like, this isn't so hard. It's not foreign to me, whatever. Yeah. And as you learn these different things, and again, through those calls and the, app and everything, and these little tricks about, you can dehydrate tofu and make it taste really good and eat that as chips on an airplane, whatever. I mean, there are a lot of things that you can do to really make this not only doable, but fun and easy in a lot of ways. So,
yeah. Bringing up the tofu that's dehydrated, I'm going to say this for the people listening. If you want the recipe, we'll get Linda to share it. So you guys have to let us know while watching this podcast.
Oh, sure.
Because we want the recipe too. Because it's a high protein chip, basically.
Yeah, I watched her do it. I don't know what the marinade was, but we can get that. But it was really easy. I mean, she just basically took the, it's that high protein, extra firm
the Trader Joe's one. Yeah.
Trader Joe's, and sliced it into, slices, like kind of sliced bread, and then laid it out in the dehydrator trays and dehydrated it. And then we knew how much was in there already, and then we just each split it up between a baggie. So I knew in my baggie, it's like, okay, this is so many grams of protein and so many calories or whatever. And then I know it's like, I'm not going to worry about, on the plane, I've got a good snack, and it's a good high protein snack, and I'm getting some healthy food in there. So
we need that. We need that the spice blend combo. That's going to make the big. We're trying to get that from Linda.
Yeah, and there's a lot of interest. I mean, people in this program, there's a lot of creative people in the program. I mean, so I think some people worry about going plant-based. It's like, well, it's bland. It's like, no, it's not. I mean, you can
good recipes.
Use all these amazing spices and different things. I'm talking like I know how to cook. I really don't.
We're going to put that to the test after.
I know. But I mean, so where, it tastes great, and you don't miss that.
Yeah.
But your taste buds do change. I mean, like when we first, long time ago, became plant-based.
Yeah.
It took a little bit, but then suddenly it's like you're tasting food differently. Because before that, eating so much salt, sugar, and oil and everything, I mean, that you're not really tasting the food anymore. You're tasting those added ingredients in it. And so when you really start to taste, what does this banana really tastes like, or this, this fruits, vegetables, different things, and really enjoying that. So.
Yeah, no, it makes the world of a difference. So we'll try and get that recipe for people. It's like a good late night snack as well. Yeah. Right? Because we talked about popcorn yesterday, but some tofu chips, you're watching a movie, like there's not a lot of healthy alternatives that you can buy, but you can make some pretty good ones. Yeah. Very easily at the house.
Yeah, we not air pop, but we'll put popcorn in it's like a silicone popper thing you can put in the microwave, so you're not doing it with oil.
Yeah.
And you've got a good snack, crunchy. I think some people just miss that crunchy snack at night.
Yeah.
And then you can do this and
Nutritional yeast on top of it.
Nutritional yeast,
Yeah.
or amino acids on top or whatever. But certainly don't add a bunch of salt and oil to it. That's going to defeat the purpose.
Yeah, because you'll have so many more calories added on top of it for just a little bit of wetness, basically, on the popcorn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nutritional yeast, like we have to buy this thing by the bulk. Every time we make a tofu scramble, I'll buy those like bottles. I'll use like a third of it or a quarter of it. I just love nutritional
tofu
yeast.
scramble. Linda has this recipe for tofu scramble, which is the best. Anytime we go out to any vegan restaurant and order a tofu scramble, I'm disappointed because it just doesn't taste as good as what Linda's able to do. It's really good. But that nutritional yeast too, for those that are kind of new to this, I mean, we use that as kind of like a Parmesan substitute, putting it on if there's any pasta or whatever like that. It's really good.
Yeah. No, we have bottles of it because we eat so much of it. Awesome. Well, Gary, man, I appreciate you taking the time to record the podcast with me. I'm excited. Now we're going to do a cooking video. So we're going to put your cooking skills to the test.
This could be a comedy show. I don't know.
Well, I think it'd be pretty funny because with Linda, we did it was a protein smoothie with no protein powder, which was a fairly simple.
You picked something that I could do with Linda. It's I can do the smoothie shakes. Watch her like, oh, she's got the easy thing. What are you going to have me make?
Yeah. Ours is a little bit more complex today. But
right.
You're going to do a good job. I'm not a master chef either, so we'll make it work.
All right.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you for jumping on. I'm excited for the cooking video, workout video. And then for everyone listening, again, just head over to the YouTube channel. All of it will be live at some point in the next few weeks after I can remember the order. Everything is going to come out. But I appreciate you coming out. Everyone, thank you very much for listening. And be sure to subscribe to the channel so you get notified when new videos and new content goes out. And then, Gary, any last words of wisdom you'd like to share with the audience or the listeners?
Well, just a big thank you to you. And, we're really impressed with the program, and congratulations on 5 years of Fit Vegan. And getting to know you and Ivy, being here has been just really a lot of fun. I mean, you're very authentic, and you have this passion, and you really do care deeply about people. And it's been really fun to get to know you better. So
I appreciate that. I try to be the same person on cameras.
Yeah.
It's easier to maintain than trying to play a character.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, we'll see you in the next recording. Gary, thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.